The stars shifted in silence as two wills, ancient beyond mortal comprehension, prepared to intersect in an act of cosmic inevitability. In one corner of the infinite, the mad titan Thanos sat within the throne of Sanctuary II, his eyes lost in the constellations, every glimmer a reminder of worlds conquered and lives extinguished in pursuit of what he saw as balance. His hands tightened around the Infinity Gauntlet, each gem pulsing like the heartbeat of reality itself. To him, the universe was a fragile equation, overrun, bloated, unable to sustain itself. In his mind, mercy was not softness but the precise culling of excess. He had argued this truth to himself for centuries. The universe's greatest gift was in the hand that had the will to prune it. Yet across the void, in the realm of Apokolips, the Omega throne bore the weight of another mind. Older, colder, far more patient. Darkseid's gaze pierced dimensions, not merely space. His mind was not fixed upon the stars, for they were but fleeting embers to him. His attention was on the deeper mathematics of existence, the anti-life equation. To Darkseid, life itself was the error in the cosmic program, a flaw born of chaotic will. If all will was brought under one order, his order, the cosmos, would no longer be a place of endless struggle, but a singular, unbreakable unity. To him, Thanos' balance was an illusion, a childish compromise with chaos. Balance, he thought, is the act of allowing chaos to live so long as it dances on a tightrope. But chaos always falls. The first spark of confrontation began not with weapons, but with thought. Through the interdimensional bleed, Thanos reached out, not in deference but as a challenge. Darkseid of Apokolips, his telepathic voice rang like steel. You grasp at control, yet you seek to end choice itself. What is a universe without the freedom to err? Darkseid's reply came like the crushing weight of a black hole. It is perfect. Your so-called mercy is weakness disguised as logic. You destroy to preserve, but what you preserve will one day rise against you. Why trim the weed when you can burn the field and salt the soil? They debated across the stars, their words forming weapons sharper than any blade. Thanos invoked the natural order. Birth, death, renewal, arguing that even destruction must serve life's continued existence. Darkseid countered with inevitability. Freedom breeds dissent. Dissent breeds war. War breeds annihilation. Why allow the cycle when one will could command all into everlasting obedience? Yet beneath this philosophical sparring was a deeper tension. Both knew that the other's victory would mean the annihilation of their vision. This was not merely about power, it was about the ultimate interpretation of existence itself. For Thanos, the Infinity Gauntlet was the proof of his supremacy. Power over time, space, mind, soul, reality, and power itself. For Darkseid, his Omega effect and mastery of the anti-life equation were not just tools, they were the embodiment of his godhood, untethered from any universe's laws. And here lay the fundamental difference. Thanos' might was rooted in the fabric of the Marvel multiverse, while Darkseid's true essence existed beyond all mortal dimensions, beyond even the DC multiverse, a platonic ideal of tyranny that no gauntlet could touch. They knew that this would not be settled in endless discourse. Words would give way to action, and the battlefield would not be chosen, it would be forged by their wills. Galaxies trembled as Thanos stepped into the interdimensional veil, bringing the gauntlet to a plane where the laws of reality could bend to both their influences. Darkseid awaited, not in anticipation, but inevitability, his eyes glowing with the promise of Omega. As the veil between their universes tore open, two philosophies prepared to incarnate themselves in the only language gods truly respect. And yet, the stars themselves seemed to hold held their breath, knowing that the outcome would not just crown a victor, but decide the very definition of existence itself. The breach erupted like a sun dying in reverse, pulling light inward until darkness spilled into the interdimensional nexus. Thanos stepped forward, the Infinity Gauntlet humming with reality's heartbeat, each gem vibrating in concert as if sensing the challenge ahead. Darkseid emerged opposite him, his massive frame casting shadows even in a place where no light source existed, omega beams flickering faintly like lightning behind storm clouds. They wasted no time. Thanos moved first, bending space to close the gap instantly, his fist wielding the Power Stone, striking with the force of collapsing stars. The blow landed squarely, but Darkseid barely shifted, his expression unchanging. Omega beams lashed out, not as straight lines but as serpentine tendrils of annihilation, forcing Thanos to bend time itself, slipping between microseconds to evade them. Reality warped under their feet as Thanos summoned entire asteroids into existence, hurling them as projectiles. Darkseid met them with a glance. The Omega effect disassembled them into nothingness before they even touched him. But Thanos was not reckless. He was testing, gauging, learning. With a thought, he froze the battlefield in a stasis field, time locked for all but himself. He appeared behind Darkseid, driving a gauntlet-clad hand into the god's spine. Yet instead of the impact shattering him, Thanos felt a crushing counterforce. Darkseid's body was merely an avatar, his true essence watching from beyond, immune to physical destruction. In that instant, Thanos realized the problem. He was fighting a projection of a god, whose real self existed outside the battlefield entirely. Darkseid took advantage of that hesitation. The Omega beam struck, not to kill, but to disassemble the very connection between Thanos and the gauntlet. Thanos fought back, Reality Stone twisting the laws to shield the gauntlet from separation, but each defense cost him willpower, and willpower was the true currency here. Darkseid's voice thundered across the void. Even your omnipotence is caged by your universe's laws. I am not bound by them. Thanos responded by unleashing the full gauntlet. Space folded infinitely. Time ran forward and backward simultaneously. Every possible Thanos attacked from every possible timeline at once. It was a perfect assault on any being bound by a multiverse's logic. But Darkseid's Omega effect ignored logic. Each Thanos duplicate was erased, their timelines pruned before they were born. Then came the anti-life equation. Not as numbers but as truth searing into Thanos' mind. Life is chaos, freedom is suffering, and only in submission is there peace. Thanos resisted, clinging to his belief in balance, but the equation did not argue, it overwrote. Piece by piece, his will was corroded. The Soul Stone flared, trying to shield his essence, but the equation pressed inward like an ocean against a glass sphere. The glass began to crack. In desperation, Thanos channeled all 6 stones into one strike, a blow meant to erase Darkseid entirely. The Omega beams met it, the collision birthing an explosion that tore through dimensions. When the void settled, Thanos stood, but his eyes no longer burned with defiance. The gauntlet hung limp at his side, its gems dimmed. Darkseid's hand rested on his shoulder, not as a gesture of friendship, but as the final seal of dominance. You sought to balance the scales, Darkseid said, his voice low but infinite. I have removed the scales entirely. With a thought, Thanos' mind bent under the anti-life equation's will. There was no surrender, no plea, only the stillness of perfect obedience. The Mad Titan was no more. In his place stood a servant of Apokolips. Across the void, countless worlds felt the shift, though they could not name it. In that moment, freedom itself had suffered a wound it might never heal. And in the shadowed throne of Apokolips, Darkseid did not smile, for victory was not joy. It was inevitability,